Hello, hello, my dear friends. Welcome to our weekly speaker series for the Paranormal Research Symposium. We are so excited to be back again. And we're so excited to be having the Paranormal Research Symposium again coming up soon. My name is Whitney Zahar. I am an APS core member, and as you can see, I am substitute Alex Matsuo today. There can only be one, but I'm glad she's making sure I'm worthy to substitute her. In any case, welcome everyone. I'm so glad you're here tonight as we begin our countdown to the Paranormal Research Symposium. And I will pop up the overlay right here for everybody to see. Our tickets are still available. It's happening on August 23rd, 2025 in historic Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. As you can see, tickets are still available. There's $50 admission until August 22nd. So for more information, hop onto our website at associationofparanormalstudy.com. We also want to, every week leading up, we are taking the time to spotlight our amazing, let me switch back to me. Hi, am I here? No, I'm not. Oh, well. I'm trying to get rid of the overlay here. This is interesting. I'm so funny. Technology, my friends. Anyway, let's move on to our sponsors for the Paranormal Research Symposium. We are proud to and thankful for our sponsors, Ghosted Magazine, Ghostly Images of Gettysburg, Gold Dust Publishing, and Lauren Haunt. Thank you to all of you for supporting us and for helping us bringing this incredible event to life. I also want to remind all of you that we are looking for volunteers for the symposium. We are looking for session attendants and help at the check-in table. Volunteers get free admission to the symposium. They also get an invitation to our Friday night dinner and social, where you can meet the presenters and the rest of the APS team, including us. Haha. And then you also get camaraderie with fellow paranormal enthusiasts. Okay. Whew. Now, how in the world do I get rid of this overlay? Funny me. Anyway. So we are, of course, each week leading up to the symposium, we are excited to spotlight the brilliant minds and the bold spirits behind this year's symposium. They're going to offer you a behind-the-scenes look at their research, creative work, and unique journeys through the paranormal. And tonight, we have not one, not two, but three speakers. We are giving you today. We are giving things to y'all tonight. And one of our first speaker who will be joining us is Randi Bergsma. She is a writer, artist, and witch whose work lives at the beautiful and eerie crossroads of women's history and the paranormal. You may know her from her work in The Feminine Macabre, Haunted Magazine, and her hauntingly powerful essays. So I am going to actually start by bringing her on. Hi, Randi.
Hello.
And I'm still not sure how I'm supposed to get rid of this freaking overlay. Why is it doing this to me? Technology. Anyway. Hey, Alex, how do we get rid of the overlay? Anyway, thank you for joining us. I know things are kind of crazy right now. Overlay, go away. There we go. Hi.
Hello.
I am so competent. Thank you very much for your patience with me. Randi, I'm also gonna bring on our wonderful colleagues. First, I'm going to bring up the man, the myth, Sam Baltrusis, a nationally recognized author and investigator and historian known for his appearances on the Travel Channel, Discovery Plus, and more. He's written 18 books on haunted history. I mean, that's nothing. That's like small potatoes, guys. 18 books, and continues to be one of the most compelling voices in the field. He's also one of my best friends. Sam, welcome to the show. Hi, Sam.
Hello. So
And
now it's 20 books. I literally wrote 2 books since like 10 minutes ago.
oh my God. Well, you know what? We will, as the kids say, we're going to glaze you for that. And finally, I also want to bring on Dustin Ryan Crowley, who is the founder of Great State Paranormal. He has 15 years of experience in the field. His work bridges exorcism rites, demonology, historical preservation, and investigator training with a deep respect for both spiritual and scientific inquiry. Oh, I know those. You're speaking my language, Dustin. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's our absolute pleasure. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the chat and all of our great group, our chat is on. So if you're watching live, please be sure to drop your questions right there in the chat. We will have a Q&A session later on in the show. Just remember, be nice. Thank you. That's all I'm going to say about that. Again, I've gotten you all excited about the wonderful things coming, and I will show you those information about the Paranormal Research Symposium at the end of the show. So let's get into this. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Yay. All right. We have wonderful people on the chat. We have John Michael is on the chat. Hi, John Michael.
Hey, John.
Hi, John.
Hey,
Good to see you again, John.
And we have lovely Tabitha Meadows, one of our girls from the Spirit Squad.
Yes.
Go Squad. Yes. All that stuff. And we have Karen Schweiger.
Karen.
Welcome, everyone.
I love you all.
Yes. Keep dropping it in, everyone. Let's talk. So I have because I'm substitute Alex Matsuo, I do have some opening icebreaker questions for all of you. So I'm going to start. How about this? How about all of you? Can all of you give us a quick preview, a quick taste of what your symposium presentation is about and what inspired you to tackle that topic? So don't give us the full presentation. Come to the symposium for that. But let's go in alphabetical order. Sam, what's quick taste?
So first of all, I just want to add, so last year I was a volunteer at this
symposium,
and I loved it. I just wanted to see what it was about. And I will tell you, going to that event last year was kind of like life-changing for me in the sense that I saw a different side to the paranormal that I haven't really been exposed to. It wasn't about how many TV shows that I've been on or how many books that I've written. It was about presenting ideas that are important for us to learn about. And I learned so much from that symposium last year that I was really grateful that I was able to pitch this year. And so I did. So the topic that I started off with was the idea. I've written 2 books on Salem and sort of considered the expert on Salem, Massachusetts. But as a former tour guide who witnessed firsthand stories of real people that existed. 20 innocent people were killed and executed for witchcraft, and their stories being twisted by tour guides. I wanted to do something about that. So idea originally was using Salem, Massachusetts as a microcosm to sort of what a bigger issue in the paranormal field. When you bring a medium into a location, having them sort of read the location and create a false narrative. So a narrative that doesn't align with historical accuracy. And I call it the Bathsheba effect. And the reason why I call it that is based on Ed and Lorraine Warren going to the Conjuring House. Lorraine Warren, who I love dearly, I do respect her, coming in and putting her hand on the stove and saying, in this house, there's a malignant entity and her name is Bathsheba. And And so I introduced kind of that concept at Trevette Clinic Parafest, and Dustin was the one who was the moderator. And we had such an amazing conversation. It took what I originally pitched to the next level.
Oh, that's fantastic, Dustin. Over to you. So I think you recently you're joining Sam in this presentation. Is that correct? Tell us a little bit more about what you're bringing to the table.
So from my side of things, especially when it comes to the demonology side of the Bathsheba effect, what type of ethics are involved with demonic activities? And then also, I'm a former historian for a local historical association, and as most historic places are, it was haunted.
Yep.
Is haunted. And so from time to time, people would come in and say, oh, I feel like the owner did ABC. And as someone who had to be the guardian of that history, saying, well, no, that never happened. That couldn't have happened. It's really important that we make sure that we align the paranormal information that we have with, if we can, primary historical records.
Wow. Preach.
I know, hot take, right?
No, that is so, I mean, Sam and I talk about this stuff all the time, don't we, Sam?
We do.
And,
yeah.
And I have to, and now I got to turn this over to Randi, because your work with women's history is particularly, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're presenting at the symposium?
Sure. So I'm presenting my paper on the Afklint method. So that's based on Hilma Afklint, who was a spiritualist and an artist. And she had a big show at the Guggenheim in 2018. It was the most attended show they've ever had there. And her biographer learned Swedish to write the biography. So she spent years and years in Sweden. And the biography is amazing. And it goes into detail about her method, her seance method, how the group would meet, how she received these, for 40 years, she received these channeled messages, and those messages became these paintings. And she would often say that the painting came through her, not from her. And she left behind 100 some odd notebooks of all of her channeled messages. So I thought it would be an interesting experiment to see if I could recreate the seance and see if I could use the method to get any kind of channeled artwork communicated through me at all. And it does work. It was effective. So I just want to share that method and my results, which are definitely not Hilma Afklint level results, but they're still interesting. And I really think it's something that the average person could do and perfect and get results with. So yeah, so that's what my presentation's about.
So I will, full disclosure, when I read your abstract and you were mentioning Hilma af Klint, I'm a fan of her work. And I first heard about her in, of all things, a movie called Personal Shopper that had.
Oh, yes.
That's what really intrigued me. And now my husband gave me one of her paintings. And hopefully when we go to New York, we will. We've heard that she's got things on display at the Met. So that ought to be pretty cool. That is so cool, everyone. Randi, I want to actually stay with you for a moment. So mentioning Hilma af Klint, for those of us that are not as familiar with her, how would you describe her relationship to spirit communication, and how do you think it informed her art?
Well, she was very interested in spiritualism from a young age. I think she attended her first seance when she was 18, and she kept communicating with spirits all the way through to the end of her life. And she found that the spirits communicated very directly with her and told her what to do and gave her these assignments that she would then accept or choose not to accept. like her huge paintings, like the 10 largest, were like a spiritual mission given to her to paint. So there was a period of like a few years where she painted, like she completed a painting every 5 days. And these are like huge paintings, like 10
Oh,
feet
yeah.
tall. Um, so she was like an incredibly robust woman, incredibly hardworking, and she took them very seriously. She really felt that they were a spiritual mission, that the world wasn't ready for them, but in the future, the world would be ready for them. At the end of her life, she put a little like X on the documents and paintings that weren't to be opened for 20 years after her death. She really felt like only the future would be able to like understand them. They weren't of this time. Um, so yeah, she took it incredibly seriously. And there's even things in her journals, like when she's an older woman, when she's in her like 70s, the spirits are asking her to paint more large paintings. And she writes in the margins of the notebooks, like, I can't. Like she just doesn't have it in her to do. So it's kind of a complicated relationship in that even when she can't do it anymore, she still feels she's being asked to do things. And it's incredibly taxing on her. Like they ask her to take on like a vegetarian diet. And this is in like the late 1800s, early 1900s. So she made like incredible sacrifices to complete this work, which I think is kind of incredible. Actually, it's very ahead of its time.
That is really exciting. I can't wait to hear more about that in your presentation. Sam, over to you, because you
Yes.
knew I was going to hit you with something at some point. But I do know that there are other people in the field that have really worked on bringing more contextualization to ghost lore and historical narratives, such as Colin Dickey and Tia Miles. And I know you reference them in your work. Alex
Right.
knows too. So, how has their scholarship influenced your approach to telling haunting history?
I mean, I think it's important to bring in critical thinking to the
Mm,
paranormal, and I think that's what they brought in. I mean, specifically Tia, she brought in looking at sort of Southern uh, tropes that are told over and over again with enslaved populations in Savannah, Georgia, and so I think it's important to and Colin Dickey's like looking at sort of like locations that I'm familiar with, like especially like the Merchant House in New York City, and looking at them with critical thinking in mind. So I'm using them as sort of a template for originally applying it to Salem, Massachusetts, because I feel like that a lot of the ghost lore and the tours that I've been a part of have twisted historical accuracy in the primary sources, as Dustin talked about, into these over the top stories that are that march like that sort of twist the facts to the
mm,
point where it's turned into a trope. There's always the idea that perhaps maybe they were in fact witches, but these were innocent men and women who were accused of witchcraft. So my purpose as a tour guide, my purpose as an author, and I'm also a clairvoyant who does seances. So I find your topic really fascinating, Randy. So I do. I'm able to kind of take all of that and look at this with a critical lens using Colin Dickey and Tia's work and applying it to what I know, which is Salem or other locations that haven't been talked about in their works, and offer sort of like a fresh take on it and say like maybe what about women, like what about the marginalized people that we often overlook in these stories, and are we creating these tropes that are stereotypes?
hmm That, you know what? Actually, that's the perfect segue to a question I was going to. Oh, John Michael says, Sam, say the C word. Yay, critical thinking. Thank you, John Michael. Kimberly Sage is also on too, and she says, all great presentation subjects. Thank you very much. Oh, yes, the phone's auto-corrected your words. Yay, technology. Well, instead of talking about technology, because that definitely is a demon, we will talk about that another time. But Dustin, I actually am curious about how you there's a book or article, Spectral Slander. you're exploring how false narratives become part of haunted lore, as Sam was mentioning when it comes to tours in Salem. Have you seen that kind of mythologizing in cases involving darker entities?
Oh,
yeah, loaded question. Bam,
yeah.
right out of the gate, huh?
I mean, I grew up in a Christian denomination where everything was caused by a demon, which is what led me to study the field of demonology and inter-exorcism. And to my surprise, it was far less interesting being in the field than I thought it would be. Because growing up, everything was caused by a demon. But to the detriment of society, I think we have a tendency to severely blame dark and demonic things for what we should have rational explanations for. And especially if you look at the state of mental health care in the country today, or even the world, how we raise our children, reading, critical thinking, right, John? We
very right.
If there's ever an uncomfortable topic, I promise you someone's going to blame the demonic. And throughout history, we've had a case of it. One of my favorite examples is children in the Victorian era would sleep sitting up because it was known that if they slept laying down, that they would be taken in their sleep by a demon. Well, that demon turns out to have just been carbon monoxide because of how we had to keep our homes warm. We didn't understand the science. We didn't know how it happened, but we knew it was happening, so therefore, demonic.
Yep, we've definitely been hearing a lot about that. And it just seems like everything we hear about, demon. Yeah. Now, staying with you for a moment, Dustin, how do you strike a balance between spiritual belief systems and scientific tools in your work? That's definitely a very strong balancing act.
It is. And for one, I surround myself with people that are way better with technology than I am. I'm pretty good. But with Great State Paranormal, I just got some apprentices. So I think they're 16 and 17. And they're in robotics club.
Oh, yeah.
What? That's cool as crap. So how can I take the scientific information that's coming in and the psychic, medium, paranormal information? Do they support each other? Do they balance each other out? And ultimately, at the end of the day, if there's a discrepancy between a rational scientific explanation and a paranormal explanation, the scientific is going to get the nod.
That's incredible. I want to go back to Randi for a moment, talking about your experience channeling aspects of Hilma af Klimt's work and channeling bits of her into you and creating art. So what does it mean to you as a witch and as an artist to create something that is channeled rather than consciously composed?
So I think it just feels very different. You feel like something, it's exactly what Hilma af Klint said, actually. You feel like something's moving through you instead of coming from you. And there is an element of you don't know what's you and what's something else. And at the start, when you first start doing it, you're like, am I just making this up? What is this? Because you have no idea. And you're just trying things out. And then after a while, you sort of get into the rhythm of how it feels when something kind of comes in and takes over. And it's not really spooky. It doesn't have to be spooky. You don't have to do it at night. You can do it anytime.
Yeah.
And it's really, after a while, it's not scary at all. And it's just like a weird feeling of like otherness kind of comes through you. Kind of like if you have like a really deep meditation and you just kind of check
Okay.
out, like, yeah.
That sounds really intriguing. Hey,
Yeah.
Sam,
Yes,
because Sam knows what it feels
I
like.
do. Yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of why I reached out to Dustin, because I feel like I needed the balance, because I also channel. I'm a you know I would, if you watch Curse of Lizzie Borden, I'm a
Uh-huh.
deep trance channeler, and I was taken over by Eliza Borden like during my trance session. So I
I
need
remember.
someone to, I guess, kind of focus on more of the science side and the other side to complement me, because I'm a medium, so I'm kind of, I don't want to be a hypocrite when I talk about this stuff, but I do feel like that you can use us and our abilities to get accurate information. But what happens when that information's doesn't align with historical accuracy, and
Mm.
those narratives that are perpetuated uh, at locations, and they take them and they twist them for monetary gain, and I've seen that, I did Curse of Lizzie Borden, and I've seen that with not to, I will name, like, the new owners of the Lizzie Borden house really
Oh,
have twisted the narrative to the point where they're actually saying that the Borden murders are somehow tied to the murders that happened at Belisca, because they own both
no, they're
properties,
not.
and they're not.
No,
And
they're
it's, it's sort of like like looking at this. Yes, mediumship can be a very powerful tool, especially. I mean, I don't deep trance channel. I try my best to light trance channel because it's really draining. But I really think that it can be a powerful tool. But what I'm concerned about is using what I as a medium put out there, and taking it and twisting it for monetary gain, and also to slander innocent men and women for things that they did not do.
absolutely. And also, since I can't always be there to smack you on the back of the head, you've got Dustin to do it for you.
Exactly. Yes.
There you go. Not that I would. I love you, Sam. You know I love you. I got a question for actually all of you. Because each of you works with the unseen in a different way, whether it's art, demonology, or historical research. So, how do each one of you define a haunting in your own work? Dustin, let's start with you.
Hmm. I would say probably any time that you have unexplainable phenomenon.
Mhm.
I mean, I know that's kind of like using a UFO, where anything that you can't identify is a UFO. But up until the time where you can explain something, I guess you can't ever really rule out something being spiritual.
All right. Randy, what about you? How do you define a haunting?
Yeah, I think just anything that kind of comes from a liminal space or a liminal feeling, I would define as like sort of a haunting or a haunted experience. And I don't even think it always has to do with like a ghost necessarily. It's just like sort of an otherworldly experience or feeling, which I think you can get like, drifting off to sleep in a dream state, like in between places. Like I feel like liminality is really like the portal through which like haunted activity happens. And I don't know that it's even always haunted. Like sometimes it's just like what's happening in someone's brain. But I
Mm.
think that's kind of the parameters in which like the doors are open for things to happen. But yeah.
All right. Sam, what about you?
Such a loaded question, Whitney. But
It's all for you, Sam. It's all for you.
for me, a haunting. So I always say a ghost is history longing to be remembered.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and then, so I really, so I go back, because I started off as, I'm an author. I'm primarily an author, and all this other stuff like mediumship and all that um, complements my work. But it gets down to me that I want to tell the stories and tell the stories accurately, and
Mm.
that is my passion. That has always been my passion. And for me, I've also gotten, as I've progressed throughout, and this is where Dustin and I really a line is a lot of things have been misidentified as, you know, demonic when in fact it's elemental or it's something else that could be explained it, like egregores, stop form manifestations. And in Salem, I see a lot of that. Like things have been created, like ghosts have been created in Salem by telling stories that were never existed. And so you created this the lady in blue in Salem,
yeah.
and you can see it in her in photos. You can hear her screaming, but she never existed. And why? And why? Because we're telling her story and we're creating her. So yeah, I feel like a haunting. It's complex, but I also feel that if you stick to history, it could be. Ghost lore is a powerful tool, and it's something that we need. But it's powerful, you know, and it can also be misused.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, speaking of usage, because of Salem, so your work in Salem, and Randi, you might want to chime in. I'd love to hear your take on this question too. In what ways does the modern use of the term witch in Salem help or hinder the preservation of accurate historical narratives?
Yeah, I mean, I find that so obviously there's two aspects of Salem. Salem is the place where 20 innocent men and women were accused and executed for witchcraft in 1692. It's also a safe haven for modern witches and modern pagans who feel safe in Salem. So there is the dichotomy going on there. I do feel like that someone who I mean, working in Salem, like 90% of my friends are witches. So like I love my witch friends because when I go into a location that may have darker energies, the darker energies stay away from my witch friends because they can bind their asses, you know, and they can basically protect me, and so I feel very comfortable going into a location with my witch friends because I feel like they know how to deal with the things that I would say someone that is like kind of new in the paranormal field would not be able to handle, myself included in some cases. So
Right.
as far as paranormal investigating and witches, they understand, I guess, how to handle the non-human entities. And I'm putting air quotes for that because they're not demons.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Randi, I'd love to hear your take on that as well.
Yeah, I like totally agree. And I kind of say that like in the paranormal, like I think there's a tendency to view things in the same way, which is like ghosts are out there and you have to go find them. Whereas I think if you're a witch, you sort of know that like you don't have to go anywhere, like you have the
Mm,
power to connect from where you are. So it's like a completely different approach. And then I also think, yeah, with like witchcraft, there comes like an idea of like you can handle things and you know how to handle things, so it's like less scary. I always say like if you're not scared, things aren't scary, and that's partly because you're calm enough to handle them, but that's also because anything that's like weird or creepy knows that you're not scared and knows that you're prepared and like doesn't really seek you out the same way it seems. At least in my experience. I feel like they're much more likely to like go find the like 13-year-olds on the Ouija board. Like that's more fun for them.
mm.
So yeah, I think there's like an element of like preparation and like just knowing how to like handle yourself. So for sure, yeah.
You're never going to catch me near a Ouija board, just saying.
And if I could jump in,
Yeah.
As a fellow practicing witch,
Wonderful.
we have been demonized throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the groups that are always considered witches, it is always the outcasts, the other, women, people of color, queers.
Mm.
And it is always just a way to throw shade. But within the paranormal community, when you work with actual witches, because, or at least those that work with deities, we have such a high reverence for the spiritual plane that we're not the ones that are going to be like going in and challenging spirits, because we know that we're in their home, we're in their space. And like, I guess to make a relevant meme, we're bringing an impasto salad. Like,
Mm.
we're being a good guest.
Yes, we are, Tabitha.
So that's my take on it.
That's awesome, guys. Hey, I love hearing you guys just kind of bring it all in together. So let's talk a little bit about what's coming up for the symposium, because I know y'all are excited about that. What are you all the most excited about when it comes to the symposium this August in Gettysburg? Dustin, why don't we start with you?
Well, first off, I'm very excited to get to work with Sam again.
Oh yeah.
Like truly an honor.
Sam will be stuck at the orphanage again. Yes.
Oh, we're gonna be at the orphanage. I love the orphanage.
I actually have no idea, but we were stuck there. I was stuck at the orphanage all day that day. I loved it.
That
too,
sounds
actually.
like a good plan.
I actually loved it. Yeah, but go ahead, Dustin.
Honestly, just getting a chance to be around others in the field who are doing research and trying to build the community, and not necessarily I'm trying to seek fame or claim a stake to this location or that type of drama.
Sam, what are you looking forward to?
I just got, when Dustin was talking, I got emotional because I feel like this is what I've been looking for. I've been in the field for a long time, and when I went last year, and the people I didn't recognize, some of the people I did recognize them, of course, you and Alex and a couple of other people that I'm friends with, but it was all new people with amazing ideas. So it's giving a voice to people in the community who do the hard work and haven't been given a platform to share their research and their expertise in the field. And to me, there were like all my credentials when I submitted the abstract, they didn't look at that. They looked at what I had to say, and that means that makes it so special to me. And I earned my spot, you know. And I'm getting emotional talking about this because it's something that I feel like that I have something to offer, and I knew that I did, and I feel like it kind of gives me a platform to be able to do that.
I want to hug you right now. I'm hugging you from a distance. Randi, how about what are you looking forward to?
I mean, just being around like this people who are interested in the same things I'm interested in, who are doing their own thing, like just all the weirdos. Just really looking forward to meeting fellow weirdos. So yeah.
We are the weirdos. We're all geeks and nerds, and it's going to be awesome. Yeah. Speaking for myself, it was a wonderful experience last year. Not just helping to set it up, but also hanging out with Sam pretty much all day, which is great. But then we hang out together every time you come to Hanover Tavern. So, by the way, I was just there last weekend. They say hello.
Okay, yeah, I have my ghost friends at the tavern.
Yes, we'll talk about that later. So I want to actually ask, so do you, each one of you, I'm kind of going to combine this as a group question. Do each one of you, when it comes to hauntings in history, do you all have your own historical eras or historical places that just call out to you more than any others? Sam, I know it's Salem for you, but are there others?
Well, so I mean, I am drawn to colonial history. I mean, like that's sort of like my era. But that's interesting about colonial history. It's so long ago that there's the idea that a residual haunting has an expiration date. So it's almost like the tail end of what could be an expiration date for a residual haunting. But if I had to choose a second era, it would be probably the Victorian era. And everything like spiritualism, like that whole everything is like 1890 is like that year that I kind of always go back to. And I feel like I wish I was from that era. I love that era.
No, you don't, because they had no flush toilets.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Sorry, dude. Dustin, what about you?
Well, kind of like Sam, the era that I kind of specialize in is the Victorian era. That's the era that I did when I was a historian. And just from the spiritual movements, all of the fun customs that we have today that arose from it, good, bad, and ugly, because that's where we get, the Ouija board / spirit board, talking board, the planchette, which led to automatic writing, seances. And again, I'm not saying all the stuff they did back then was good. It wasn't, but we wouldn't have the field we have today without that specific time period. It still exists, just differently.
Right. Yeah, and with that that whole period of the Victorian period just was that confluence of science, technology, art, travel, and it all just sort of, it was like a perfect storm that just kind of came together. And a lot of really bad things happened with that, that's for sure. But also a lot of very fascinating things happened with that too. Randi, what about you? Are you going to chime in about the Victorian period, or do you have like something else?
I do love the Victorian period, but for me specifically, the Tudor era is my like sweet spot. Like I love Anne Boleyn. I love Elizabeth the First. I love like their
Yeah.
relationship is really interesting. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Have you read that? There's a book that came out like a year or two ago, and it was an actual combined biography
Yes,
of Anne Boleyn and
it's so
Elizabeth.
good.
Oh, it is so
Yeah.
good. Oh, what
And
a
how
wonderful.
she honored her mother like throughout her reign and
She
like all the
did.
appointments she made for her Boleyn relative. Yeah, it's really touching.
It's
Yeah.
fascinating. And Elizabeth
Hmm.
the First, there's so much known about her, but at the same time, she kept a lot of things very close to her chest. But if you knew
Hmm.
how to look, you would see,
Yeah.
because that was one of Anne Boleyn's last words: for those who would meddle in my case, I
Yes.
ask them to look at it kindly and do
Hmm.
with it what they think best. Little did I don't know if she really thought that in the end it would be her own daughter as queen that would take that. That is just so cool to me.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
also Jonathan Rhys Davies as Henry VIII was really awesome. Sorry about that. That's actually how me and my husband bonded. We bonded by watching The Tudors and The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes with Jeremy Brett. That's another bonding TV series for us. Anyway, but that's beside the point. Now, I actually would like to know from you guys. I actually kind of want to get a little funny with it. So I'm going to actually ask you a quick fire funny question. Um, do you guys, okay, I've always wanted to know this. I always have wanted to know this. What is it about women's bathrooms and ghosts? I'm serious. What is it
I
about
can,
women's bathrooms and ghosts?
that's where I would want to be. That's where all the like perfume is, all the makeup, all the fun stuff. Personally, that's where I hang
But people poop and pee in there.
out. You know what's interesting? It reminds me, Frida Kahlo, after she died, the artist Frida Kahlo, had her bathroom locked for like 40 years, I think. 40 or
Oh,
50 years, it wasn't allowed to be opened. And I think it's because all of her very personal things were in there, like her makeup, her prosthetic leg was in there, like
oh
love
yeah.
letters were in there. She had a wardrobe of her clothes in there. Like, I just think it's very like an intimate, personal setting. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Boys, do you want to chime in on that?
So I like, well, the
I'm being
topic.
silly.
Erin Taylor, my good friend Erin Taylor, she wrote a book called Unfinished Business, and I wrote the foreword to that book. So I've actually had a lot of experiences in bathrooms, and I mean not specifically women, like ladies' bathrooms,
I
just bathrooms in general. There was a bathroom at
Sam, this is not that kind of interview.
know. Alex, you can blame me. I decided to go rogue. But I really wanted to know. This is something I've always, because a lot of the ghost lore that I would read sometimes, especially hauntings in restaurants, it's always the women's bathroom. Also, middle schools in Asia, the girls' restrooms. Anyway, I just wanted to clear the air a little bit and have you guys chime in on that. I'm a chaos agent at times. I just found that funny. What is it? Let me actually give you guys one general question, and then we're going to open. So we also have some talk from the chat. Heather Dean says, because we're safe there and the other girls will believe us. Yeah, I could go with that. Tabitha says water is a conduit, and she's quite right about that.
Yeah.
So y'all's guess is as good as mine. What I want to ask all three of you now is, what do you hope the audience will take away from your presentations at the symposium? Sam, we'll go with you first.
I mean, I hope that they take away from it. I mean, I want to turn this into a book. Actually, the topic, the Bathsheba effect, into a book, and so I'm using this as a platform to kind of explore the different themes and also to give feedback as well. And I think that this is the perfect outlet to be able to do that. And so it's kind of the idea has kind of morphed into something bigger, and adding Dustin to the conversation continues to make it grow to the point where I want this to be a larger discussion. And so I'm hoping that they take it and they take the idea of false narratives perpetuated in ghost tours and even at haunted locations or allegedly haunted locations, and how can we make it, what can we learn from this, like what and hopefully like apply it to the locations that they are represent or that they give tours at. And so so I'm using Salem as a microcosm, but this is something that's an issue all over the country.
I think so too. What about you, Dustin? What do you hope? I mean, I know obviously working with Sam is also awesome, but I hope that, what do you hope the audience will walk away with when they hear your part of the presentation?
History is enough.
Yes.
We don't have to add to it.
Right.
We can sometimes, if we need to sensationalize it some, we can, but also there has been enough harm done throughout history. There has been enough, and we just need to let that speak for itself and respect and honor those who came before us.
Randi, what about you?
I would like people to go away with like an understanding that paranormal investigation or like dabbling in the paranormal doesn't have to look like going out to a haunted location, paying for that haunted location, paying to travel there, and like giving up that time and trying to make it work with your job, with your kids, with your life. I hope they understand that from your home in your own space, you can conduct these kind of experiments. You can kind of dabble and see what kind of results you can get. And I also hope that people walk away realizing that there's like a certain intersection in the paranormal community that's like spiritualist witches and women, where like a lot of really interesting stuff is happening around the edges. And I would just hope people walk away with like an understanding that that's like a good place to look.
Yeah, absolutely. So for right now, let's go ahead and open the floor to our chat because people have been putting stuff in here. Let's actually go ahead and put everybody, if you have questions for our guests, go ahead and post them in the chat. I'm going to go back and see what else people have put in here lots of wonderful glaze. Sorry, I have a son who's 14, so I'm up on the Gen Z.
Oh, God bless your heart.
Oh, thank you so much. we will commiserate when I see you. Yep, John Michael said, wait, did Dustin use the R word and the C word? Yay, rationality and critical thinking. He also said he can only throw so many hearts in the chat, Dustin, LOL. We say hello to Lois Clark, who has greetings to Sam. Heather Dean is actually a historian and a ghost tour guide. She said that she ended up redoing an entire script because of so much lore, not the real facts. Heather, if you want to post in the chat a little bit more about that ghost tour, feel free to do so. Let's see.
Or if you would like me to get into it, you can just say that too.
Yes.
She's one of mine.
Oh, one of yours.
Or I'm one of hers? I don't know.
Heather.
Kindred spirits.
Oh, I love that. Well, Heather Dean did post a question. Favorite haunting? Go.
Like ever?
She just said favorite haunting.
I'll take like a headless Anne Boleyn ghost. Love that.
Oh,
Sure.
Tower of London?
Like
awesome.
at Hever Castle. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm really fascinated with Anne Boleyn myself, so I find that a great answer. I mean, for me personally, like I feel like the basis for this. I mean, I love the movie The Conjuring, but when you really dive deep into Bathsheba Sherman and who she was, and sort of like her as a person, it was so wrong. That movie was so wrong in so many levels.
I know.
And the way that they portrayed this real woman that really existed as a witch, as a child killing witch, and as someone that possessed Carolyn Perrin. And so I find that The Conjuring, like the story, so fascinating. But I also find that the truth was, in my opinion, more fascinating than the made up Hollywoodization of and demonizing this innocent woman in a way that I want to exonerate. I want to like talk about this, and like she was an innocent woman, and we're doing it not just with Bathsheba, but with other people as well.
So many other people, and
Right.
you know, yeah. And as for you, Dustin, Heather just sent you LMFAO pictures, so she just said ever.
Nice. So I would say probably my favorite that I've done is the USS North Carolina battleship in Wilmington, North Carolina.
That place is so cool.
I mean, you know, the spirits are they're not your typical spirits. They're not from a sanatorium or a prison. They're soldiers that died valiantly in war. And that's just special. Plus, if I had to give a place I would like to go and explore, it would probably be the mountains in Romania.
Oh, yeah.
Because that kind of ties into a lot of what I work with. So if I can ever get to the mountains of Romania, that would be just chef's kiss.
That sounds like so much fun. We have something from Tabitha. Tabitha says that what if lore is partial truth? Because lots of history has been altered by the winners, and there are people in power now, of course, who are rewriting narratives. Yes. So what do you guys think of that? Is lore, what if lore is partial truth?
It usually is. I mean, there's a kernel of truth to it. You know, I definitely find, like, for example, like one of my other specialties is Lizzie Borden, and so like I'm related to Lizzie Borden. I'm also distantly related to Anne Boleyn as well, too. By the way, so that's something. That's
who are you not related to, Sam?
The Putnams as well. I mean, so Dustin's also related to Aleister Crowley, but I find that really fascinating. But anyway, so I feel like that the winners or men have rewritten Lizzie Borden's narrative, and I still find that, you know, and a lot of people, like, I think Lizzie Borden is innocent. I do think she committed the murders. However, her story has been told by white men, white straight guys who control the narrative, and that's a big part of. You know, I obviously have. I'm an advocate for the marginalized as well, and I feel like it's important to give a voice for those who have not had a voice throughout history. But I also feel like that, you know, the tropes, like the lady in white, like that's a constant trope as well that we hear over and over in ghost lore.
Yeah.
But you know, developing them as multifaceted characters, you know, and the women, and so Lizzie Borden is more than just an axe murderer. She's a complex woman who probably did murder her father and stepmother, but there was more to the story.
Randi, because you deal a lot with marginalized voices as well, I'm interested in hearing your take on this.
Yeah, I mean, I can use Hilma Acklin as an example, right? Like, she is an abstract artist, and a lot of abstract art, the origination of that, it began in the seance room with mediums channeling and making sort of these non-figurative marks on paper.
I
And
forgot about that.
yeah, and Wassily Kandinsky was considered the father of modern art for years and years and years. And he was also inspired by, he was a spiritualist, and he got the ideas from seeing mediums scribbling in seances. And so when the modern art scene kind of opened up in New York City, with the Guggenheim, with the Museum of Modern Art, it was very like uncool at the time to say that it came from a spiritual background or from a spiritual place. It just was not of the moment of the fashion. So Wassily Kandinsky was considered the father of modern art for years. And it wasn't until the Guggenheim exhibit in 2018 that art historians started looking at Hilma Afklund, looking at when she started these paintings. And she's now considered the mother of modern art, the mother of abstract art, rather, because her paintings predate Wassily Kandinsky's by a number of years. But they were both inspired by mediums who are mostly women, scribbling kind of in seances in a trance state. So.
Wow.
Yeah. And also think of the way that mediums, spiritual mediums, were portrayed when they were, I mean, I think about the Fox sisters when they were on stage and how they were portrayed by their handlers. As you have these very young women who are doing things that most proper young ladies would not do. And we talk about sensationalizing and God, I have so much I want to say, but I'm going to bite my tongue because I'm a good girl. I'll be transgressive enough when I get there. Folks, do you all have any more questions for our guests? Oh, so actually, this is great. Oh, how cool. So actually, okay. Heather, I think you accidentally, a message that you just put on was supposed to be private for one person, but I ended up seeing it. I won't say anything about it, but it sounds pretty cool. But she also brought up something about the ghost tours that she was mentioning, a lot of Revolutionary War stories.
And unfortunately, now that Heather is not in that town anymore, they have gone back to the exceptionally sensationalized ghost tour.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, gotta love that.
Yeah. Oh, I have a feeling we're going to have some major bitch sessions. Oh, wonderful. Heather said it wasn't private. So it's the story of Tom Dooley. Okay. Yeah. Oh, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that with all of us. Yeah, she said that I'm going to go back over here. Yeah. The ghost tour specifically told the story of Tom Dooley and a lot of the Revolutionary War slaver stories. The families were very protective of their ancestors, and neither side was guilty, except they were. Historical figures, yes, but she also did a lot of delving into court records, birth certificates, landowning, and then also the removal of indigenous people from their land. So, yeah, I think we can all, yeah. Wow. That's heavy stuff. Thank you. Thank you so much, Heather, for sharing that story with us. And I think, I really hope, for me, I hope that this is the beginning of welcoming more voices into the paranormal field, not just women and friends, LGBTQ voices, but I also want to see more people of color come in.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And more indigenous voices. I really, really want to see that. So everybody out there, my wonderful guests and also our wonderful chat, please share, invite your friends from who are from every race, every creed, every religion, every sexual orientation. Please invite them to come to the symposium because we need more. We need that representation. We need people to come and share their stories and know that there's a safe place for them to do that. So, and on a bit more of a lighter note, a final quick fire question for our guests. Randi, Dustin, Sam, Gettysburg ghosts, friend or foe?
So I absolutely love Gettysburg. So like spending time in Salem for me, I feel really guilty. I don't know what the energy there. Maybe because I'm related to the Putnams. But
Yeah.
I feel guilt in there. But in Gettysburg, I feel drained in Salem. Gettysburg, I
Mm.
feel charged. And I'm not sure why. Maybe because the spirits are. This is a different feeling there that I feel, and so I get kind of the opposite feeling that I feel in Salem. So I feel like that the ghosts of Gettysburg are more residual in nature,
I
based on
think so too.
in my personal experience. So I don't feel like that there's the other things that I was talking about in Salem, like the egregores and
Mm.
manifestations and things that have been conjured by weekend witches, as we call them in Salem. So I think things in Gettysburg are residual and more historical. You can taste the history, you can feel the history, and you're surrounded by it. So I would say friend.
Okay. Excellent. Randi, Dustin?
I'll say friend. I'm Canadian, so I don't know. I don't know that much about like Civil War history. So I'm really looking forward to like learning about it because I
Oh,
don't really know that
yeah.
much. And I've never been to Gettysburg, so I'm super excited to go and like get a vibe for like how it all feels. Yeah.
Oh, we're so excited for you to come down and see Gettysburg. Dustin, what about you? Friend or foe? Gettysburg ghosts.
So I've never been to Gettysburg either. So we'll
Oh,
have to find out. That being said, uh, I don't think that friend or foe is a fair breakdown because after you've transcended in the spiritual plane and gone through the veil, I don't think that you have such petty things as do I like this person or do I not like this person?
oh,
Right.
I really hope you're right. I really hope that's right.
But if I'm not, there are some grudges I'd like to keep.
Ooh. So, Alex, maybe a better question is if you if you became a ghost, who would you haunt? Who would you
Well, I got
grudge
a list.
haunt?
I've got a list. It got really long over the last year or so, but I've got a list.
Dustin, you have to let go of your bitterness, my guy. Okay, well, we're going to talk because I actually hopefully will be seeing Dustin in my neck of the woods. But my dear friends, everybody, thank you. This wraps up yet another powerful episode of the Paranormal Symposium weekly speaker series, and I want to thank you again, Randi Bergsma, Sam Baltrusis, and Dustin Crowley for joining us and sharing your wisdom, your stories, and your heart. We cannot wait to see your presentations and have you guys actually have your first time in Gettysburg, Randi and Dustin. Sam, we're gonna have a drink together. We missed having a drink together in Gettysburg last year, so
Well,
we're gonna do
I
it
mean,
this year.
I'm sober, so we'll have coffee together.
Coffee is perfect.
Yes.
Yes, we will do coffee. Everybody, real quick, as a reminder and yes, I've got the overlay working now. Jeez. All right, first, don't forget to get your tickets. They are still available, $50 admission until August 22nd. You can get our tickets at gopassage.com. Or you can get more information on our website, associationofparanormalstudy.com, all one word. Also, don't forget to book your discounted stay. We do have a room block available at the Quality Inn. And if you want more information, just jump on our website and learn more about that. I actually will be staying there too. Party, party, party. And finally, we also are looking for volunteers. So if you're just like what Sam did last year, so you can volunteer to be a session attendant, or you can work with us at the check-in table. All volunteers get free admission to the symposium. They also get an invitation to our Friday night dinner and social, where you can meet our fabulous speakers, including Randi, Sam, and Dustin. And it's a great place to establish camaraderie with fellow paranormal enthusiasts. Once again, I want to thank our incredible sponsors, for the Paranormal Research Symposium. Thank you again for your generous support to Ghosted Magazine, Ghostly Images of Gettysburg, which is based out of the orphanage, Gold Dust Publishing, and Lauren Haunts. We really could not do this without you guys. Thank you so, so, so much. And now I will go back. Hey, I did it. Ha ha. And on that happy note, Alex, unless she likes the way I do this, but we will be back with you next Monday at 8 p.m. At that time and at that back channel for our next amazing guest. And until then, everyone, stay curious, stay connected, and of course, stay spooky. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye.
Good night.